Hey folks, today is Friday, April 7th, 2023. As usual, my name is Jake, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. Let's get you caught up. Got a bunch of stuff to dive into, specifically the first thing, you've probably seen the headlines, a new Sony handheld. Yes, Sony Vita, a PlayStation... Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No.
Yeah, man. PlayStation Vita 2, we're rising up. We're not. But yes, these are actually rumors still. Take this all with a grain of salt. But this comes from Insider Gaming, who we've talked about a lot. They've gotten some scoops right. They throw in a lot, but they've gotten some PlayStation stuff right. And the newest suggests that Sony is working on a handheld that is going to be specifically tied to the PlayStation 5 as an accessory. This isn't going to be a dedicated handheld, but more of a remote play streaming device. So while that initially doesn't sound that exciting, I think for some people with certain use cases or specific needs, it can be really exciting. Sony's been pushing remote play, and it actually is really good tech. I know some people that love the hell out of it. So it makes sense for a device like this. Apparently, this device isn't coming until like 2024-ish, but the report also goes on to suggest that like this is coming alongside new headsets and stuff like that, and then eventually a PlayStation 5 Pro, which like I still don't want to believe the PlayStation 5 Pro rumors, but this one sounds cool. This is something I can absolutely get down with. I mean, we talk so much about handhelds and how handhelds have kind of had a different position lately, more of an accompaniment to thing, with how Xbox will stream games to your phone, or PlayStation with remote play on various things, to the Steam Deck even not being like the most super powerful device, but just enough to really get some things done. Like, there's a lot that makers can do with handhelds in this day and age, different needs, different use cases, and I think if this is real, it could fill a really cool void. The report suggests that it's going to look like a PS5 DualSense controller, but with a big screen in the middle, and that works. Apparently, it's going to have all the feedback and adaptive trigger stuff that you'd expect from the main controller, which makes me immediately concerned about battery life, because those things are a suck on battery life. Should I say a suck on battery? A drain on battery life, excuse me. The report suggests it's an 8-inch LCD touchscreen, 1080p, 60 FPS streaming, which on a handheld that should be pretty good. And as of right now, the code name is Q Lite. Now again, if these reports, if these inside sources are correct, seems pretty cool. It's very interesting for Sony to dive into yet another hardware thing that accompanies the PlayStation 5, like the PSVR 2, stuff like that. I want to know what you guys think about this. Is this something that you want? I know there's a lot of people out there hoping for Vita 2. This necessarily isn't quite that, but I know me, the thing I use my Vita for the most these days is for remote play, believe it or not. So there's certainly some interesting opportunity there. I'm also biased because I just like hardware. I like tech. I like when we get to make videos about cool handheld devices and stuff. But let me know how you guys are feeling on this. Is this something that you're interested in? And when do you think we're going to see it? The report tracks the timeline of like the suggested PS5 Pro coming by holiday 2024, and this is coming before that. So who knows? But yeah, let me know what you're thinking. And in other news, in case you missed it, dropping right now actually is the Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries DLC. Now this is a big deal, especially for you old Resident Evil players, because this is like Mercenaries in its true proper form. You get to pick one of the characters and run through areas and try and get high scores and murder a bunch of zombies. Sorry, they're not zombies, but yeah. So as of right now, interestingly enough, it seems like the roster is Leon, Krauser, Hunk, and Luis. Now, it is interesting to point out that data miners had found both a Wesker and Ada model as well, but as of right now, they're not in the game. Maybe they need to be unlocked or they're going to be added later on, but yeah, that's how it goes right now. Mercenaries is a really fun mode. From what I've seen of the gameplay people putting out this morning, seems great. You know, it's a good throwback mode, and with this update for Resident Evil 4 comes DLC. Yeah, believe it or not, this isn't too great because Capcom never gave us the heads up that DLC would be coming to the game. But right now, it's essentially the option to purchase with real money weapon upgrade tickets to then bring to the merchant to get a free weapon upgrade. So you can essentially pay your way through the game a little bit. I'm glad it's completely optional and can be ignored, but still, you know, that's definitely leaves a bad taste in some gamers' mouths. Listen, I know, like, especially some of us, we're getting older, time is limited with our games, but I think buying a skip, essentially, to get a better weapon upgrade, like, I'm not going to dictate how people play games and how they have fun, but, like, I feel like you're missing out on the actual getting the thing in the game, but that's just me. Not a hot take by any means, but let me know what you think. I used to always play as Krauser in Mercenaries, so you know I am hopping on that as soon as we're done with this video. Hey, next up, this episode is brought to you by our longtime sponsor, Raycon. Now, these are the wireless earbuds we've been recommending for a while, and they're out to prove essentially that you don't gotta pay an arm and a leg for quality sound and good smart tech features. These are like the easy, no BS earbuds where you can get a pair and a backup spare and still pay less than you would with some of the big tech name brands. I still use their everyday earbuds all the time right here. They offer 8 hours of playtime with a 32-hour battery life thanks to the handy dandy little charging carrying case. It's so small. Usually I use them for long work calls because they're comfortable, and also when I'm doing boring outside dad stuff like yard work. Ugh, boring, but you gotta do it. And it helps that they're sweat and water resistant because I'm gross. They pair up nice and easy with Bluetooth. They have smart compatibility. Everything you need them to do, they do. They have different sound profiles which you can access with the tap of a button. And they come in a variety of different styles and colorways, so you're good. There's a reason why these things have over 50,000 5-star reviews, so check them out. It helps the show. Click the link in the description down below or head to buyraycon.com/gameranx to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. That's buyraycon.com/gameranx, and big thanks to Raycon for sponsoring our videos. And in some big news that didn't make a lot of headlines, but it's important because it's something I really wanted from the base game. God of War Ragnarok finally now got updated to have a New Game Plus mode. It's perfect for this style of game, and it's pretty much what you'd expect, it seems. According to Sony, your equipment, weapons, and skills will carry over from the previous save, so you can use everything right at the start. Along with that, there's going to be a level cap, more enchantments, new armor, and stuff to check out along your adventure. I am so glad they listened to our requests. What they added to the game is essentially what Kratos starts out with at the beginning of the game, like the cool fur cloak that immediately goes away. They've listened, and now that's in the game. Thank God, because that was the sickest look for Kratos, not gonna lie. Also, in other news, what's going on with ARK Survival Evolved? Have you guys seen this stuff in headlines? I still want to see how true this thing is. It seems like it is, but I wonder if they're gonna change something because the messaging around this is crazy. So essentially, ARK 2 has been delayed. It's now not coming until apparently the end of 2024. We expected it to be a 2023 game, but they have pushed it. And what they're doing is they're making sure that now this summer they're going to release ARK Survival Ascended. This is essentially a remaster of the original game. It's the original game in Unreal Engine 5. It's been in the works. It's been talked about for a while. It was actually apparently going to be a free upgrade at some point, but as of right now, it's going to be a whole thing you can buy, but you can only buy it as part of a bundle, actually, that is also a pre-purchase pre-order for ARK 2. And I quote, PC players will only be able to get ARK Survival Ascended via an ultimate value bundle known as the ARK Respawn bundle. This bundle contains ARK Survival Ascended and ARK 2 for $50. Along with that, this is kind of where it gets wild for me, is that ARK Survival Evolved servers, the original version of the game, those servers will be switched off when this new ARK upgraded version launches. You're still going to be able to access single player and unofficial servers, but support and everything else is ending, and you're gonna kind of be forced to upgrade to the remastered version. It might be a thing with the engine and how it works with crossplay and whatever, but still seems like not a great move. Just on paper, when you break it down, it doesn't sound right. Okay, ARK 2 delayed. Okay, ARK Remastered being announced. Okay, that's actually a bundle. You have to buy that with a pre-order of ARK 2. Okay, they're sneaking in those extra sales there that way. But also, the old version of ARK is turning off. Damn. If you don't play ARK all the time, or you have the money to spend, it might not seem like a big deal, but I think for some people, it might really piss them off. Now, next in other news, the ROG Ally has been announced. I've seen a lot of talk from industry people that we're going to see more Steam Deck competitors start to rise up from some of the bigger tech companies because Steam Deck made such a splash, and it seems like ROG is one of the first out of the gate with this device called Ally. Now, of course, there's the other more indie style handhelds we've talked about in the past. The GPD Win, the Aya Neo, stuff like that. But this is a much bigger, Asus ROG is a big deal. And the Ally is going to have a 120 hertz screen. It's going to have a custom AMD CPU that is going to be technically faster than the Steam Deck, but it's going to have Windows running on it. I have used other devices like the Aya Neo that use Windows, and it's fine on a handheld. But after the Steam Deck, I'm a Linux nerd now, I guess. It just makes sense, and I think that infrastructure, Steam, everything they have going on is kind of their leg up, even if technically the Steam Deck is less powerful. Linus Tech Tips actually did a video on this ROG Ally thing that we'll link in the description below. It does sound impressive from a hardware standpoint, but it's still got an uphill battle against Steam. Not to be like super Steam fanboy or anything, but I do really like the Steam Deck. That being said, other companies coming out and trying this type of thing is good. I think encouraging competition here, I think, is good and healthy. And, you know, if some people like the Steam Deck, but they want something crazier, more powerful, and they have the money to burn, to have that option is nice. As of right now, it doesn't have a release date, but there's rumors and stuff suggesting that it's going to be like a fall or holiday 2023 type of thing. Also, in other news, shout out to our viewer friends in South Africa. A lot of you guys for sending me this story. EA is no longer going to be selling physical games in South Africa. That's significant because South Africa is a really big country with a lot of gamers. And after EA apparently changing their global operations and some layoffs, that's how it's going to go. So if you're in South Africa, apparently you're not going to be able to be purchasing games like FIFA or the new Star Wars Jedi Survivor physically. And that's a worrying trend. We hope other game companies don't start doing that because as a cost-cutting measure, because that absolutely sucks. Next up, just some cool things I wanted to link in the description down below. The first is stuff for the Tetris movie. We talked about this last week. The Tetris movie dropped on Apple TV Plus, and it's actually pretty good. And if you're interested in that story of how Tetris got made, I linked a really great story from the Washington Post for you guys to read up on. You know, I say we talk about video games so much here, we might as well do our homework and read up on them. So that's a good story. But along with that, I've also linked a great video if you haven't seen it. It's a couple of years old now, but from the Gaming Historian. Their story of Tetris video is great. The Gaming Historian has always done great work, so you should check them out if you haven't. They definitely don't need my help. But yeah, also it just reminds me like how good Tetris is. Really, it's been like a resurgence of classic games in media lately between that and the Super Mario Brothers movie. So yeah. Woohoo, video games. Also, some things releasing this week worth checking out. First is Ravenswatch. This is like a roguelike RPG that seems pretty cool. As of right now, it's mixed on Steam, but a lot of people had their eye on it, so I'm expecting to probably jump in this weekend to see what the deal is. But also, Meet Your Maker has dropped on all the major platforms, and it's worth note that it is free on PlayStation Plus if you have that. Essentially, this is from Behavior Interactive, the people behind Dead by Daylight, and this is like a dungeon builder game where you get to build your own kind of like old school PC first-person shooter dungeon and then watch other players die. And then you can also play through other people's created dungeons, and there's like a whole progression loop to it and a story. So it's got some really good creative ideas. I don't think it's totally there yet. Like the things you can make and play through aren't super exciting, like not as cool as that trailer originally implied. But I think they're onto something here. It's a really cool concept. And also, shout out to a couple of you guys who on social media put this on my radar. This is Vertigo 2, a new single-player PC first-person shooter VR adventure. So my VR head's looking for something. This seems like something that you can really chew on. And we've been itching for updates from games like for a while now, just like little morsels of news, and we haven't gotten anything for the big players, but we have gotten a little bit of a morsel for Cities Skylines 2. They've come out and debunked that the fact that it's on Unreal Engine 5. It is not. It's still going to be a Unity game, but apparently it is going to be a huge overhaul to the point that, unfortunately, people's mods and things they've created for the original game will not work here. This is a substantially new, completely different game. And along with that, they said they're not doing multiplayer. They said it takes up too much resource, and they're focused on just making the best Cities Skylines style game they can. And that excites me, because honestly, maybe like the mod community can come up with multiplayer later, but like, do you really want to build a city with someone else? I feel like it's going to be all arguing. That being said, I'm still really excited for this game, and I want to see gameplay soon. Oh, and in case you missed it, the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters got a release date on PS4 and Nintendo Switch. That's dropping April 19th, so not too far away. It is, of course, for those who don't know, Final Fantasy 1 through 6, and this is also going to have the much requested fonts thing, the pixel fonts thing. So, woohoo, finally. As of right now, though, that's what we got going on. We got to go work on some other videos. So let me know what you think in the comments about everything, specifically the Sony Handheld, the PlayStation Handheld streaming thing. What's the deal? Is that something that you are interested in as a customer, or no? Is streaming games in your own home or on Wi-Fi somewhere not really in your wheelhouse? Let's talk about Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries, all the games releasing this week, and of course, let us know in the pinned comment that we put down there what you're playing this weekend for our research. It helps us pick like what kind of videos we're going to make. So thank you if you do that. But thank you guys for watching. We're here every Friday. We never stop. So clicking the like button is all you got to do. It helps us out. thank you. But have a good weekend. Be safe. Have a nice time. I'm Jake Baldino. Pizza's on me.